Hi, I'm Alex Paulton. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Talking Timepieces, where we talk about watch collecting and horology. Today, I wanted to take a close-up look at this very good fake Patek. And it is a fake. It's a very good fake. This is what some people would call a superclone. It actually has a Swiss movement in it, albeit a Sellita SW200, which actually is a very good movement. You'll find it in watches from Sin to Baume & Mercier to Invicta. But when you look at a watch like this, you think, if they had just put their own name on it, they could have even made an homage Patek and put their name on it, and it would have been better than making this fake. Because as I say, a fake watch is like wearing a military uniform to get on a plane early, and you're not a soldier. You're in the case. Well, of course, stealing honor is way more important than stealing trademark. But the difference is only in scale. They're both lies, and so this reasonably well-made watch is a shallow lie. I mean, why do people buy a watch with a brand? Because the brand is worth something, because the company put years of effort and millions of dollars in investment and thousands of hours in human work to make a watch that can carry the reputation that creates the name, and someone just stole it. So let's turn the camera around and look closely, and I'll even show you the maker's mark where it says Sellita 200 on it. It was made to fool people who almost know enough about watches. You could really see the deviousness in this thing. And then we're going to smash it because it's a fake. And even though I could probably sell it for several hundred euros, the movement alone is worth a couple hundred. It's worth destroying because fakes are a lie. And every tolerance of fraud in the industry just allows for more fraud. There's a direct line between this fake watch and timepiece gentleman snorting millions of dollars of people's money up his nose off of hookers' boobs. Lies are lies, fraud is fraud, and watches like this should not exist, because tolerance for this is tolerance for fraud. So like I said, let's turn the camera around and take a look at this, and then we'll smash it. Here we are with the fake Patek Nautilus. As I was saying, this is the best fake I have ever seen. It really is a good fake. Unless you really knew what you were doing, you really would think this is a real Patek. But then again, it stops the moment you start really examining it. One aspect about it that is hard to tell when you don't have a side-by-side comparison is that compared to a real Patek, this face is a little lackluster. I've seen several Nautilus, and the thing about the Patek face, that iridescence, in a real Patek, it has almost a three-dimensional look to it. And whereas this face is nice, it doesn't have that depth, that richness that you would see in a real Nautilus. Another aspect is this thing is pretty beat up, all right? And I doubt that the person who was wearing this watch went and did sports with it or anything like that. I'm guessing that these dings are an indicator that the steel is not of that high a caliber, which is how you can get it banged up like this with only casual wear. Because for the size of the dings in this, it should be more damaged. But these are the person obviously just brushed against a door or something, and it left obvious marks. So the steel's not quite there, the face isn't quite there, and hands-on is where you really can get a feel for it. Let's move it over a little bit so I can get to the crown. Once you start touching it, you can feel this crown isn't there. It really isn't. And winding it is a little on the hard side. But then again, as I was saying, this has got a Swiss movement in it. It's got a Sellita in it. But the Sellita is not a Patek movement, not by any stretch of the imagination. And the feel of the crown is a tell. It really is. All right. Close up, you can see that the text is actually very good. You can't really complain about how clean that text is, because that's one of the places where fakes usually drop the ball. The date window isn't perfectly lined up, and like I was saying, that's the aspect of a watch like this. When you're dropping $20,000-$30,000 on a watch, or frankly anything, everything should be perfect. And whenever if there's something that's not quite right, that's a sign that there's something wrong with the watch. For example, the indices in the hands are nice, but they don't have that clean, tight finish that you would expect from a real Patek. It's just not there. They look really good though, but it's just not working for me. For example, if you look at the way the second hand looks, it's pretty obvious that the second hand was just stamped out, not polished the way it should be. See, here we go. Catch that second hand coming across there. You see how straight-sided that second hand counterweight is. It's very, very flat and clean and polished. There's no beveling on it at all. But it's, like I said, I keep coming back to the fact it really is a good fake. It's just not quite there. And for all the effort they're putting into it, they could have designed and made their own watch. So now let's hang it up here and take a look up close at some of the aspects of the movement. Now, right off the bat, it is a reasonably well decorated movement, but it's not decorated to the level a Patek should be, right? So here, let's take a close up look at it, and right off the bat, you could tell some things, because a Patek doesn't have a regulation the way this is. It doesn't have a Patek has a free sprung balance, and this is not a free sprung balance. There we go. See if we can get a good angle on it. If you notice, it looks like they actually added a plate right here. That they added a plate to cover the arm for the regulation mechanism, because a free sprung balance only has one control arm, and this one has two, but they hid the second one behind that plate. They hid that second control arm to make it harder to see. But there are two control arms on this movement, on this balance. And again, all we have is a lot of perlage here. And there's kind of a Geneva wave on the counterweight. But again, the only customization is in the counterweight. The movement itself is not there. It really isn't. All right. Now let's take a look at it from another angle. There we go. Come on down. Get that counterweight out of the way. You see, so like I said, there's a lot of perlage, but that's it. There's no real anglage. There's no real finishing of the movement. So they basically got a top of the line Solita, finished the way the company finished it, threw on an extra fake plate, put on the rotor to make you think that it is a real Patek. But this is not a Patek movement, not by a long shot. It just looks nice. Okay, now let's look a little bit closer at the text that's in this watch. See, so if we look here, you'll see there's a maker's mark right there. And that is not a maker's mark from Patek Philippe. They don't do that. And another way, let's look at some of the other text on here. Yeah, get this thing to rotate in the right direction. There we go. And you see, it has some more text here, right? So you can tell that this is just an off-the-shelf aftermarket movement, well decorated, but it is not a Patek movement. And as I was saying, you can see here that they've added a plate here to cover up the balance wheel so the people who actually do know what they're looking for might not see it as easily. So this watch is really, really designed to fool as many people as humanly possible, as long as they don't really know a lot about the watch movement. So you could get someone who's reasonably well informed and they'll think this is real. You have to really, really look closely to catch out the issues in this piece. But as I was saying, you know, if it's not perfect, if there's something wrong. And one last aspect about it before is the buckle is in, you know, I popped it at the link because this clasp doesn't work very well. All right. Again, this is where the fakes fall apart, is because this buckle doesn't have the quality that you would expect from a Patek. This sheet metal fold over doesn't fit well. It's stiff and it doesn't do Patek justice. But then again, it's not a Patek, it's a fake. As I've said, it's like wearing a uniform to get on an airplane early and you're not a soldier. All right? So really good fake, but fake. And fakes are, well, number one, they are illegal. They're identity theft. They're copyright violation, trademark theft. And they're a lie. Like I said, you're lying to yourself. So let's turn the camera around and smash the shit out of this thing. So here's our fake Patek. Like I said, it's a really good looking watch in its sense, but it's good looking because it's stealing the looks from a better watch that earned its reputation. And this is not. So what we do with a watch like this is we destroy it because it is a fake, and fakes should not exist in the marketplace. Flip it over. And that's what you do to fake watches. Piece of junk. The movement, sadly, was worth something, but it was put in a bad piece. They could have just put their own name on this thing instead of making it a fake, a copy, piece of junk. See how easy the indices popped off too? So let's turn the camera around and close out the episode. So that was smashing the fake Patek. And interestingly enough, you learned a few things about it by smashing, because the indices aren't even applied. There are no peg holes underneath them. They were just glued to the face. And the other thing about it, the rotor was hollow. There's a little weight inside the rotor. So it's a gold-plated, cheap metal rotor with a little counterweight inside because it's hollow. So smashing it actually showed us a couple of more aspects of the piece to show you how poorly made it is. So again, fakes are a lie, and they're not going to put their best effort even when they're trying. It's not going to be as good as anything that has its own name on it. So I really would like to know your thoughts on it. I know there are some people who are very, very big fake supporters, and I'm always curious how they can justify lying to themselves. But maybe it's because they want to flex for others. But then again, that's a lie to the other people too. I don't know. Just fakes aren't, it's just not kosher, as it were. Again, if you like the content, please subscribe. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comments section, and tell your friends. Thanks for watching.